Last Thursday and Friday, the news, the enemy news, the globalist news was saying there were 200 people on the Guatemalan border with Mexico. I mean, I could look at it and watch the hours of footage and tell you it was 50,000 if it wasn't 100,000. It went on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And I told you that the UN has other refugee centers already getting the next group ready. And what is in the news right now? That more migrant waves are coming up now that were already staged in Honduras and in Guatemala. Of course, it's a UN operation. They did the exact same thing starting 6 years ago in Europe. I've been covering it here every day. We're 14 days out. You can cut the suspense with a knife in the air. And if you think things are positive, they are. It's like grandpa has a heart attack and he gets defibrillated and he comes back to life, but he's still got heart problems. But see, countries aren't like people. They can be reborn. They can have true turning points. And we're at a major political and cultural and spiritual realignment, a renewal. And the globalist forces that had pretty much conquered this nation to a great extent still have major beachheads in our culture, in our souls, in our minds, in our families, in our systems. And they know that, like the proverbial face sucker in Alien, they're being removed from our face. And so they're getting very, very aggressive and very, very bullying, and they're censoring. And they're engaged in every form of authoritarianism, and they're using every excuse that authoritarians always use for their censorship, for their violence, for their brutality, for their attempt to bankrupt their opposition because they can't win the political and cultural argument. So imagine President Trump says, I'm a nationalist. I believe in America. I believe in our country. And I believe we just can't have completely open borders and then let a bunch of people burning American flags, waving foreign flags, who rampaged over and beat up a bunch of police, march all the way up into our country, and then open up a lane for unlimited amounts of other people to come in. And that's what happened. Last Thursday and Friday, the news, the enemy news, the globalist news was saying there were 200 people on the Guatemalan border with Mexico. I mean, I could look at it and watch the hours of footage and tell you it was 50,000 if it wasn't 100,000. It went on for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And I told you that the UN has other refugee centers already getting the next group ready. And what is in the news right now? That more migrant waves are coming up now that were already staged in Honduras and in Guatemala. Of course, it's a UN operation. They did the exact same thing starting 6 years ago in Europe. I've been covering it here every day on air. 6, 7 days a week I'm on air. We know every angle. You know every angle of this. You know, Louis Gohmert's up there going, well, maybe Soros is funding it. And I like Louis Gohmert. He's been on the show. He's a great guy. But, man, WorldNet Daily, others, we've got all the articles, all the admissions with Soros and his Open Foundation and the CARE and the Carnegie Endowment and the Rockefeller Endowment. It's all U.S. universities, professors, and migrant studies down there running it, Gohmert. The Mexican president-elect. Now the president said he would use this as a weapon to break the U.S. Mexico's acting like they're against it. What, they sent 20 cops to stop 50,000 people and wonder why they got beat up? So they could act like, okay, Trump, you're going to cut our funding? Here, we'll send 50 cops when we can stop these people. Mexico controls that border. They've got over 10,000 troops just on the Guatemalan border. Tanks, you name it. They could have stopped it all. They didn't. Because the Mexican president, we wrote about it in July. President-elect in Mexico says they're going to use migrant waves to break down the borders of the U.S. This is our country under attack. And the media always shows little kids and stuff. Even the Mexican police estimate that they are 80% military-age men. And they use the babies and people as shields. And many of them are criminals, the lowest educated coming out of those countries. That's the reality. And then our president gets up there and says, really with a soft angle, that, oh, globalism's about everybody and the whole world's good. No, it's not. It's about driving down wages, about mega corporations paying no taxes. It's one thing Trump said yesterday that wasn't true. And it's at war against nation states and middle classes and prosperity. It's a vertical global integration of total power. They call themselves technocrats at Davos. They are allied with the communist Chinese with their planned nightmare economy. And America is under attack, putting up a fight against this, and we've only got a beachhead. And most Americans are either on the fence or they don't think it's that serious, and they're letting a powerful minority of mainly white, pseudo-intellectual, power-tripping professors and government employees go out and race bait and ally with China and these traitors. All these people saying no borders, no walls, no USA at all, no USA at all. You go to any Democrat group, even mainline ones, you bring up the USA's back, the economy's back, they get pissed.
No Trump, no wall, no USA at all. No Trump, no wall, no USA at all.
That's their goal. They are conquering the nation. And you're like, they're a bunch of idiots. No, they've got the power behind them. And us sitting there and putting up with it is going to allow our destruction. You're being conquered right now. So Trump declares himself a nationalist, and they call it, CNN's all brothers. I can't believe he said that. It's like, I can't believe they put mother and father on the entrance exams. That hurts people that don't have mothers and fathers. I can't believe he calls himself a boy. What if someone doesn't see themselves as a boy? Oh, they even breathed air, too. Oh, my gosh, and they said the sky was blue. Oh, all this feigned garbage we're going to play coming up. Trump declares himself a nationalist. CNN says it's racist. You got to go read this article by Steve Watson. He says globalist is code word for Jews. Oh, yeah, Trump's really anti-Semitic. The president of the United States openly identifies himself as a nationalist, calls for jailing of his political opponents. No, he doesn't. Attacks the press and cozies up with dictators while Republicans in Congress stand idly by. This stakes of this election could never be higher for democracy. Robert Reich. Everything he says what the Democrats are doing, they work for the foreign powers. They're trying to censor. They're trying to arrest their opponents. That's why they could be arrested, because they're actually authoritarians. Okay, folks, I'm still stuck on Trump saying out loud at a rally tonight that he's a nationalist. Let's not let this get lost in the chaos. This is a big admission, which should terrify us all. They're terrified of America, of borders, of their own Social Security that all these illegals are going to drain. They're nihilist. What Trump did tonight is finally finish the rhetorical journey. He acknowledged what he's been the whole time, a nationalist. One of many in the world. He frames politics in transnational and deeply nationalistic terms, focused on the perceived threats of his concept of a nation. Robert Costa. And it goes on. Oh, my gosh. This just, it's so bad. Can you imagine? In fact, let's play a clip here. Here's Don Lemon slams Trump for using the word nationalist, the word nation. Mother, father, boy, girl, USA, nation, God, country, Jesus. These are all the things that trigger them. And you go look at them, they all look like a bunch of narcissistic mental patients. But you know what? They've conquered us. Here's part of the clip.
Wow. I'm a nationalist. Nationalist. Use that word. We're going to talk about that word tonight. It is a favorite of the alt-right and is loaded with nativists and racial undertones. And globalists, well, globalists have been used as a slur of sorts, sometimes even against those in the administration, often with anti-Semitic overtones, which has happened to make the president come right out and embrace nationalism openly and claim that mantle. What has happened here?
That's gaslighting, folks. That's what the leftists at these demonstrations do. They just look at me and they smile and laugh like I'm in junior high and feel bad I'm being laughed at by the cool kids. Like, can you believe Trump? He says we're a nation.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
The Real Red Pill Plus, ladies and gentlemen. Our team is constantly on the lookout for newer and better ways to improve our products. That's why we're bringing you a brand new version of one of the newest fan favorite products, the Real Red Pill Plus. The Real Red Pill Plus is an all-new version of the powerhouse Pregnenolone product. It features the same great formula that supports your heart, brain, healthy aging process with an all-new natural caffeine boost included. A powerful Pregnenolone base, the Real Red Pill, has quickly become one of our fellow InfoWarriors' favorite products. Now, with an extra proprietary energy blend inside, including green tea extract, yerba mate leaf extract, and more, you can get that extra pick-me-up while supporting your mind and body in a healthy way. It's got all the great stuff that Real Red Pill has, but it's also got the boost in it. Get the Real Red Pill Plus at InfoWarsStore.com.